Nemesis is one of the best board games ever created, but which one? Which one you should get, which one we like the best, which one is meant for which person? That's a lot of ground to cover, so let's jump right into the things that are common for all of these 3 games. All 3 games are semi-cooperative. That means that all players are kinda in the same team trying to, well, survive. But why semi? Because somebody, Mr. Sives, is trying to maybe kill you. All of the players will have 2 objectives, one of them usually good or neutral, and the other one might be really evil, like killing all other players. And during the game you will have to pick one of them. Well, we all know what you're gonna pick. So you're all stuck in a spaceship or a space base trying to survive. This is an aliens board game, right? So these guys really want to lay eggs inside of you. And don't look at me all weird, alright? I didn't come up with it. So your best chances of survival is working together. But how can you if you cannot trust anyone? In other words, it's the Alien movie franchise in a board game form. And also mechanically, there are a lot of commonalities between all 3 games. Each player will play a character trying to survive, and he will have his own unique cards. And these cards is what lets you move, shoot, search, and do good or nasty things. In all of the games, you will move to new rooms, open them up, explore them, search them, but while doing all of these things, you will create noise. And this noise attracts aliens. The more noise there is, the more dangerous it becomes, the more screwed you are. And survival is not likely, but that's okay because this game is not that much about winning as it is telling a story. So now it's time to see where do the differences lie. In the original Nemesis, you are on a spaceship trying to survive. You just woke up, saw a dead body there and thought, something's not okay. Then in lockdown, you're on a Mars base, thinking you're safe. You got out of the ship, everything's fine. And you are introduced to new aliens called Night Stalkers. Ooh, sounds nasty. But in Nemesis Retaliation, you know there are aliens. You know that it's gonna be bad, and you are preparing for it. Civilization are bringing their best men with their best guns, with their best grenades, and with their worst attitudes. Let's talk about the vibes of each game. The first game that we have set up right here is the most claustrophobic experience you will ever have in a board game, and it's freaking great. You're stuck in the spaceship, there's not a lot of room. It always feels like you're alone, always looking behind you, because Mr. Sives is gonna stab you in the back multiple times. I'm looking at you, okay, buddy? Then we turn to second Nemesis or Nemesis Lockdown. It doesn't feel as claustrophobic because you can quite literally turn the power on and it becomes brighter and then you can get rid of the noise, but it still has the same essence of I'm screwed. So theme or vibe wise it's very similar, but I think the original Nemesis nailed it right out of the gate. Nemesis Retaliation is a whole different story. Vibes wise I would define it as guns. It's still dangerous, there are a lot of aliens, even more aliens than before, but this time you have guns and you're here to, well, retaliate. So this time you feel more powerful, it's not as claustrophobic, and I really enjoyed the vibes of this game even though they are distinctly different than the previous iterations. The next part of Nemesis experience is exploration. The whole game you will be moving around and finding new rooms. They will be burning, they will be malfunctioning, and there will be very useful stuff hidden there. But while in the original and Lockdown Nemesis, you were set inside this space. Because you are in space, in a spaceship on Mars, huh? See what I did there? And just the rooms will move from one space to the other. The Retaliation version actually creates a new map each time. Because when you start a new game of Nemesis Retaliation, all you see is the landing zone and 3 corridors going away from it. And slowly, by moving forward through these corridors, you will build it up. That will mean that all corridors and rooms will be mixed up, and sometimes unexpectedly there will be dead ends. Some sides of the map will be more dangerous than the others, there will be a lot of surprises and a lot more aliens. So because of the card draw on how the board sets up, you will never know how exactly the map will turn out at the end of the game, which is really exciting. You cannot talk about Nemesis without talking about noise. Noise is the lifeline of the game. Originally, this is how noise worked. If you moved to another room, you had to roll a die and see, alright, it's a 4. This is the 4th corridor. I'm gonna place a noise token there. If I ever roll a number that already has a noise token there, and this is super duper painful because these aliens are angry. and strong and will eat you. Or lay eggs inside you. Noise is what created the suspense and made this game epic, but also it's half good, half bad. Because you always got into situations where this noise felt like somebody scratching their nails against a whiteboard. Freaking annoying. Because you could get rid of it and it would get immediately back and then monsters would come and you would never get out. It's fun, but also frustrating. That's why the second Nemesis introduced electricity! Whenever there is electricity, these noise tokens would be removed from time to time, making the game easier. But keeping up the electricity is a hassle. Cleans up the noise and it should be more manageable, but it adds extra layer of rules. So I would really like to place noise right here. Noise is freaking epic in both of these games, but also a bit annoying or fiddly. In large strokes, noise works here very similarly. You go to a different room, explore it, and roll for noise. But you are marines that are prepared, which means that you can secure corridors, turning these around. If you have previously secured any corridors, no noise can be placed there. As well as you always can try to secure the rooms, which means if the aliens jump on you, they don't get any opportunity attacks. So if you play smart around it, you can actually not get surprised by aliens, because, well, you know they're there, you shouldn't be surprised. I really enjoy the securing mechanism because I feel like I'm Marine, it thematically makes sense. I should be able to secure corridors and play smarter, which means I can play around the noise. But there's also random, because you will pull out these corridors whenever you set them up, which means you could create a room where all the connected corridors are the same number. You go to that spot, there's tons of corridors with the same number, you roll it, and there's a lot of aliens there. So technically a more random, but also it's more manageable, which I think is pretty great combo. And with this together goes the next topic I want to talk about, which is control. And I feel like a lot more players will enjoy this game more because you have more control over the things that will happen. Still a lot of random will happen, still a dice rolls might screw you over, still other players will screw you over, Mr. Sives. But you can try to prepare for it. It feels like there's more in your hands, which I think for newer players will be more enjoyable. The opposite goes for these two, which I feel like original Nemesis has the least control. And that can feel also pretty epic because it's just this random story and you're part of it. So if you're a person who would like more control, Nemesis Retaliation would, I think, be better pick for you. The original Nemesis did one really cool thing, which is to be safe that everything is okay, that the ship will go to Earth and won't explode. You have to know two things. Are the engines okay? And is the ship steering to Earth? And it's on two different sides of the ship and you have to travel through the whole ship, which will take time, which will most likely kill you. So you will only get half of the information, then you have to trust other players. And, well, you can't, right? Because of that thingy. And it creates a really cool dilemma. And then the lockdown version kind of did the same thing, only mixed it up a little bit. Each player will get the secret information from the beginning of the game and only they will know this information. And to win the game, you really need all the puzzle pieces together. You have to talk with each other. Another thing that Lockdown introduced is an elevator. Like a fast travel in video games, now you can go from one space to the other. That is, if the electricity is working. Another thing that Lockdown introduced is more ways to get out of the sticky situation. You can move with a rover, you can now craft more, you can escape with pods, but you don't know at which points these pods will work or malfunction, but you can get to know that information if you work towards it. A lot of those are really great, and a lot of those gives a lot more to teach people. So this one, I feel like, is the gameriest of all three, to be honest. Because there's a lot more mechanisms that you might love or might not. In other words, it takes the same concept, is very similar, just a lot more moving parts, which you might like more or less. Do you want more complex game to have more control, or less complex game and enjoy the story? And one thing those games also had is a crafting system that, in all 4 games, no one really cared that much about crafting. Nemesis Retaliation threw that thing away completely. But it mixed it up with a lot of other things. Retaliation introduced new overall objectives for the whole team, so from the beginning of the game, it feels like an absolute co-op game. You all should work together from the get-go, just some of you won't. And remember, in each game you have 2 objectives. In previous games it went like this. Whenever the first alien came to the board, you had to discard one. And that could happen really quickly. In this game, you actually decide when to destroy one of the objectives. And why would you do that, you ask? Well, because the first player who destroys an objective gets 3 extra action cards, which is huge. The next one, just 2. And the last one to actually choose their objective get just 1 extra action card. So you're always motivated to do that as quickly as possible or quicker than other players, and it's a really cool little incentive how to get out of sticky situations by getting new extra cards. There's a little Wall-E going around the station, digging holes or taking care of you or maybe shooting aliens. Each time there's a different robot that you can use. Yes, there will be games where it will just stand in the corner and do nothing, but we really had fun utilizing it, and it doesn't have a lot of rules, so it's easy to implement. If Lockdown had electricity, this game has life support, which means you will slowly suffocate and die. If the life support is off, each turn you lose 1 oxygen. If you turn it on in one of the rooms, then yeah, you don't lose any oxygen. Definitely mixed it up with all the guns and everything, yet it feels much cleaner than Lockdown. Let's talk about one thing that all of these games have, and it's stuff. With all of these games you can buy a lot of extra stuff, like new characters, you can get new aliens, which is I think one of the coolest parts, especially in, I think Lockdown introduced alien kind that is more Last of Us, these mushrooms that don't attack but slowly grow. And there's a lot of other stuff, which we feel like is super cool if you play it enough. If you're just looking out now to buy one of those games, we recommend not buying too much of the extra stuff. You don't really need it. It's awesome if you play this game and table it enough, then buy it, but don't go all in just yet. Another super cool thing all of these 3 games have in common is that all games can be played solo or cooperatively. And my personal feeling is that this game works the best cooperatively because right after the get-go it feels like more cooperative game because you are a team, you have your mission that you have to fulfill all together. That I even playing the semi-coop version always feel like I hope next time we can play just cooperatively. I just want to know how it feels like. And remember how we talked about the extra stuff and don't buy extra stuff right away? Well, there's a thing called Untold Stories. Untold Stories makes Nemesis a campaign game where you can play multiple sessions that tell a story, and then some choices or things that happen in the first session will impact your future turns. Which is a cool little expansion that I would look towards if you plan to play solo or cooperatively. Let's talk about one thing that's not that nice for all 3 games, and it's the price. All of these games you can get for over $100, and that's quite a lot of money for board games. In any of the options you get an awesome game, awesome miniatures, awesome gameplay and stories to be told for a long time, but it is quite a lot of money. One thing I really love about the original 2 games, especially the first one, are the aliens and tokens. The table presence that this queen has is just wow. All of these aliens are much bigger because there's not that many of them. In the Retaliation version there is crowds of them, so they had to be smaller to fit on the board. But here they look just menacingly. For example, this is an adult alien and this is an adult alien. As well as in Retaliation, I don't like the small tokens, but that's a really minor issue. It's kind of fine. All of these games are for sci-fi fans, for those people that have watched alien movies and really enjoy those. This thematic feel is the biggest difference and should be the steering force for you choosing. Do you want to shoot or do you want to run? And both of those are definitely a really fun experience. If you ask me personally, I would go for Retaliation. I just feel like the mechanisms more suit my tastes, which is this action-packed semi-cooperative game, but I will never ever turn down a game of Nemesis and the claustrophobic feel that I get playing it. So buy the original Nemesis if you like this bigger than life presence, these epic aliens, and if you like feeling claustrophobic and like everything's gonna be bad and there's a really small slimmer of hope somewhere, buy Nemesis Lockdown if you feel like you want more gamery version, you want more mechanisms around the noise and getting rid of it. If you want a little bit juicier experience, more crafting, more researching and things around it, if this feels too bland. And get Retaliation if you want to shoot, if you want to feel more in control. It depends on your preferences. I wouldn't say there is necessarily a better game in this series. There are certainly better games for certain players. Does that make sense? He said yes, so if it doesn't, it's his fault, not mine. Let us know in the comments if you have any other questions. We'd love to talk with you. And if you have played any or all of them, please let us know. How did your Nemesis experience go and how did you die? We'd love to read your epic and funny stories in the comments. Bye, see you later.